This is that medical building, built in 1886, I believe it was. It burned in 1901 at the same time that the South Hall, you can just see one corner of it, built. Then after that, they had to make us do a wooden, they called it the sheep shed. You can see Old Capitol and the dome in the background, and that is Natural Science Building Little Art Building, now Schaefer Hall on the right. That was started in 1899, they dedicated in 1901. But anyhow, this is what the cars and medicine had used for a little while. I don't know why I got this in here, but that's the pest house. It's out right next to, a little bit east of where the Black Angel is. And when people got smallpox, they took them as far from civilization as they could. And this is the house where they kept them. There was one man named Yager escaped who took care of him. He had smallpox in the Civil War, so he was immune. But they I think, had people with diphtheria out there. But that was the only isolation that there was. Of course, people that had smallpox who lived in Iowa City stayed at home, but people who were rooming or transients, they took them out here. That was a game that never should have been played in the blizzard. Yeah, this doesn't show how bad it was. They played down on Old Iowa Field November 7, 1925, and it really was a terrible day. They punt, the ball would end up behind where the punter was. They start around the end of the ball and broke the field, and it poured out like a watermelon seed. Wisconsin finally won 6-0. That's what the crowd looked like. Oh, that I wouldn't go to another one of those for anything, but I wouldn't have missed it for anything either. The next week there was a special to Minneapolis. I remember that was 1925, and for $5.50 you get round trip. So this was before Martha and I were married. We went up on that train, and boy, that was quite an occasion. The entire Iowa band was on it, and then they had two cars on the back. Where they were gambling. I didn't know what gambling was then. But anyhow, then they had a car in front of an orchestra where you paid a dime to dance. You danced a good share of the night, and finally we went back to the cheer car, an old wooden car, tried to sleep a couple of hours. Every half hour, a bunch of drunks would go through and yell, "Study hour!" and wake everybody up. And they'd turn off the lights, and then the brakeman would come along and he'd read the riot because every coach had to have lights on at all times. That poor man was a nervous wreck when he got to the train. And then on top of it, we got beat 33-0. I'm getting off the subject. Now this is the Mormon hand part. I'll tell you that this is an interesting thing. In 1856 and 57, the first years of the railroad, the Mormons recruited saints, they call them, over in Europe. Wales, England, Sweden, Denmark. Some of them couldn't speak English. They brought them over on boat, the boat books, and then on rail as far as Iowa City. That was as far as you could get on rail. Then they got off here, they built hand carts. It's along the south side of Clear Creek. You know where the Rock Island Bridge, the Rock Island River goes west? Well, Clear Creek is on this side of it. They built the hand carts there. Whenever they get enough for 250 people, 5 people to a hand cart, they start pushing west all the way to Salt Lake. And this is the dedication of the park. That's President Boyd, and this is one of the men from Salt Lake City. It was about 102 degrees out there, and after they got done with this, they had a formal program under the tent. I remember my seat was just outside of the tent with the sun beating down. That's Mrs. Boyd breaking ground for with the sign. The President's House, built in 1980, an uncle of mine was an architect on it, $25,000. And John Brown got to Iowa City. He was pirating slaves, you know, hiding them, and he would get through Iowa City and take them to PD settlement, which is Springdale, 4 miles east of West Branch, and they'd stay on this farm. And they put this rock floor over there, and it's well worth stopping out to see. But in 1857, one night, John Brown went into a place about where McDonald's Optical is with another man. It was an ice cream parlor. And they ordered some ice cream, and they were in the back room, the ladies' room, and 2 men came in with a rope, and they said, "Is John Brown here?" And they didn't hear him, but the proprietor came back and he said, "There are 2 men here with a rope looking for John Brown. They want to hang him. It's a $2,000 reward. Are you fellas John Brown, either of you?" John Brown stood up and opened his coat, and he says, "I am John Brown, old John Brown. Let him come." He had revolvers and bowie knives, and they were out of it. There was a $2,000 prize, but they were all afraid of him. Finally, he got out to West Branch the next day, but there was a house, yeah, that the house at 914 Iowa Avenue. He stayed there overnight, and they were after him. And he started at 3:30 in the morning, dodged all and got out to PD settlement. Then they took these people to Chicago, and these blacks that they had over there, and then on to Canada. There's nothing particular about this.
This plaque on behalf of the Johnson County Historical Society for an appreciation for your work over the years, and we very much thank you for it. And I'd like everyone to give Mr. Weber a real
when they dedicated their, sit down everybody. When they dedicated the Herbert Hoover Library, one of the major speakers wrote something that I've never forgotten. Stephanie Passany, who was a professor at Stanford University, and he said, most nations would make sounder and wiser decisions if they were better students of their own history. And I think that's one thing I hope that I can do in Iowa City, is to tell you the history of Iowa City, and then maybe you'll make better decisions in the future. One thing that comes to mind, when they were trying to figure where they should locate City High, there was great difference of opinion. Some wanted it down close to town. Ivor Obstad said it should be out on the edge of town, where it is located. He almost lost his job over it because there were these people who were so positive it should be downtown. Well, anyhow, they did put it out there, and look at now. The city extends 1.5 miles beyond the high school, whereas before it was on the edge of the city limits. So I think if we listen to some of these things of what happened in the past, maybe that we will be able to make sounder and wiser decisions in Iowa City. Thank you very much.